Hey guys, OSG here. Here's basically what you're going to have when you order the simple system from Unichip. You're going to have the option to buy the Q, the Unichip Q, or you're going to have the option to buy the Unichip Q Plus. I opted for the Q Plus mainly because the Q can do everything that this one can do, but the difference ends up being on the plugs here. On the Q, you only get this set here and the center port. This one here is not on it. The Q Plus has this one, and what this one is, this one handles all the the inputs for that it's going to basically the true signal coming in, the alter signal coming out. This port here is to hook up and I'll show you that here in a second, to hook up the tuning cable from Unichip. This port here is the one that's going to have its own built-in drivers. Now, if you get the Unichip Q, the regular one, yes, you can still use drivers, and they do sell them, but it's a kind of more of an involved process, and it's unnecessary. If you're ultimately going to want to use something to control, you might as well go ahead and get the Q Plus and go ahead and get the drivers built in. There's two drivers. So this could control, say, something like what I intend to use one of them for is the turbo, the boost control. It's a 3D map. I can go in and control all facets of the boost, when it comes on, how much, how long it's at a certain PSI through the sweep of the RPM and load, and then pour it all on when I've got full traction, that kind of thing. That's really, really nice. I like that portion of it. The other side of it is, let's say that you have nitrous. You could use this for a 3D mapping of nitrous. On a nitrous kit, you'll get in the kit a micro switch. At some point in time, NOS and some of the other guys came out with an electric throttle position sensor that you mounted. Basically, you tapped into the wiring of the stock TPS and pulled it off of there. And that was kind of more of a safe way to do it instead of relying on a micro switch. And sometimes, depending on the type of throttle body you had, and especially on ours, it's kind of weird and ugly the way that you had to mount it in order for the thing to hit. So here you could go in and say, okay, at 3,000 RPMs I want it to come on, but I only want it to come on at 50% flow. And then say at a higher RPM, a higher load, you want it to come on 75%, and then yet further down the RPM you could come on 100%. It's pretty cool like that. And of course this would manage the opening of the solenoids incrementally. So this is pretty neat, this system here. Now, when I got the box, I was kind of a little upset because I asked for the Unichip Q Plus, and of course you see the Unichip Q here on the face, but there's no Plus. That's the way they ship them. The only way you'll know is here on where the SKU's at. And if it'll focus right, it says Q Plus right there. There it is. And there it goes. So that's the way you'll know you got the right module. And then, of course, obviously it's going to matter if you have the plug here. Now, it does come with its own wiring. One end of the wiring is pre-terminated with the little pins. The other end is, already kind of popped off there for you for installing into your factory wiring. Initially, was kind of confused because to me, when I first got this thing, the ports on here end up looking like they're ready to receive a male connector. In other words, this wiring should be put into the male connector, and the male connector slid over and popped onto here. Not so. What ends up happening is it does come, these pieces here, pardon me, they pop out. And of course this is what you'll put in. The throw off was obviously the release tab, thinking that was the tit that the male connector is going to snap onto, that I thought was missing. So that's pretty much, so it comes complete. The center section, bear with me here. The center port here, that's for the tuning cable to be plugged into. And it's here. Now when you order the Q, it's going to come with this and these two wiring looms. But the way Unichip has it is they've got a lot of options for a lot of popular cars. The Toyota FRSs, they got some for the FJs. They got a bunch of vehicles. And basically how it is yes, on those kits, they come with a loom. The loom plugs into here, and then you disconnect the harness at your factory computer. You plug it into one, it's like a Y harness. You plug it into one leg of the Y, and then you plug the other leg of the Y into the PCM. Because obviously the whole goal is for the Unichip to intercept the real world signal that's actually happening on the engine. You change that signal, and then you send that information to the PCM, and it has to accept what it's getting, because it doesn't know if it's true or not. It just realizes that that's the signal it's receiving, and it will change based on what you want it to do with this. So, but for this kit, this is a piggyback system. It's not a standalone, but most of these wires we're not going to be using because we're just wanting to control fuel and timing, and of course boost control and whatever else I choose to control with the other driver. This being more of a system that's supposed to be like a universal kit that you then tune yourself. Okay, so in contrast, you would buy an FJ Cruiser kit where you told them you had an intake and exhaust headers and all this stuff. They would, just like most chips that people make, they would caution you to use high octane gas because they're probably going to advance the timing and things like that. And you plug and play, and next thing you know, you got all this power and stuff. It's not like that. This one here, you're going to make all your wiring connections to the appropriate sensors, but then you have to go in and add fuel, take away timing. That's where it becomes more of a tuning, a standalone type system. But where you do not want to adjust anything, it's going to stay at the factory settings. The way the car starts up in the morning, for instance, part throttle, deceleration, that kind of thing. But obviously, if you're going to run a turbo, anything above atmospheric pressure, 14.7, you can go in and alter those cells to add fuel, take away or add timing in response to the boost you're seeing. So it's pretty cool. But in order to do that, you have to have software. So I also ordered the software kit. In the kit, they'll send you this connector here. I'm not sure, to be quite honest with you. I was surprised that I got it in the box because I didn't know it was coming. I have no idea what it's supposed to be used for. I'll find out, obviously. But anyway, in the meantime, we'll set that to the side. But this is the tuning cable. And on the cable, it's got the USB to plug into your laptop. And it has an on-off switch, believe it or not. This is to intermittently communicate with the Unichip. And then the other side of it has the port right here that you're going to connect into that center port right there. Okay. Now, there is no disk, there's no USB or anything like that. They send you this piece of paper that gives you instructions on what now to do as far as to get the software. So yes, at this point, I've paid for the software, and you will have too, but because I get the idea that maybe someone in the past has tried to crack it and duplicate it, because they had me sign a confidentiality agreement before I got the kit. No problem. I have no intentions to crack anything, but I think that's why they do this. And then once you have this, you're given instructions on where to go online and download the software. And then you'll have it for on your laptop and such. Now, so these are basically the items that you'll need to do a full tune on your car and make it accept the mods that you've made to it, whether it be simple stuff, intakes and all that, or turbos and nitrous. What I ordered additionally above that was so when you're tuning, and this was through discussions with a guy named Jack Friedman there at Unichip US, we talked about what was the best way to monitor and alter for boost. And of course, the Saturn stock map sensor doesn't know what to do with anything above just zero pressure or atmospheric 14.7. And in some cases, in some people, their cars, the year models, the computer freaks out when the map sensor sees positive pressure. So understanding that, the option was to install a 3-bar map sensor, and I didn't really want to go that way. I would have rather keep the stock factory map sensor for the computer to use for all readings and things that it needs to perform on a daily basis, and then add this, and this is what I'm going to hook directly to the Unichip for its boost reference signal, you see. And so this is going to be used to handle that, and what the Unichip needs to do in regards to that. Now in here is a built-in map sensor, okay, and it's got a plug-in on here too, just like the other one. It's got the plug here, and it comes with its own. It also comes with its own wire loom to use. So. And the second thing that I got was this boost control solenoid. It doesn't come with wiring except that which is attached. Now this, similarly, you could still use like the one that I was going to use, a little evaporative vent valve. It's got 3 ports and such, but I like this one a lot more. It's a lot more beefier, and as far as lasting a long time and being reliable, I don't know about you, but being in the car repair business, one of the most frequent parts it gives out is an evaporative vent valve. So I didn't want to, you know, be looking for X amount of boost and not get it, or be looking for the same amount of boost but yet get more. So I just wanted something a little bit more reliable, so I opted for this, and I got that also. So that's basically it. It's going to be a fun, because I've installed Electromotive Tech 2 engine management before, and that's a full standalone. You have to program startup, enrichments, deceleration, acceleration, tip in. For Electromotive's fuel addition algorithm, they called something called time on for 1 gamma. So I had to learn their philosophy on fuel addition and stuff like that in order to use it. This is so cool because anywhere I don't need to alter, the factory computer's taking it over. I don't have to tune anything. So, and with the ability to control boost in a linear fashion, to where, like I said, with the front wheel drive that we have, the gear ratios that we have, I've had heck trying to get and hold, even with 10 or 12 pounds pushing through that T25, because that did spool up really quickly. Traction. And so I would like to race from a start. I think most people do. It was hard to find people at 30-mile-an-hour rolls to have a chance. But with the bigger turbo, and with my hoping for and am going to be expecting boost lag, that'll help move my power band up in the RPM somewhat so I can get some traction going. I can even go in here, retard timing to pull some power out down low so that I can depower the engine in case I still have traction issues. And then I intend to say at 3,000 RPMs up to maybe 3,500, keep it at 7 pounds, which is the stock spring on the wastegate. And then as traction is there, and of course it's all playable, I'll meander around and see where it's best and what it boost. I can put it at 8 pounds, 10 pounds, and then finally 15 pounds at full power. So it really gives you an opportunity to program the boost completely, and it will do exactly what you want it to do. So I'm very excited about it. I'm installing 60-pound injectors. There's no way I could get away with 60-pound injectors, just throwing them in there and doing the tricks I did for the 24-pound ones that I used with the rising rate fuel pressure regulator, the Piggyback. So this is going to allow me to remove the Piggyback altogether, just use the 1-to-1 regulator on the rail, and tune the injectors off of this solely. So looking forward to it. Stay tuned. I'll update you as soon as I got something.